Today we're about to go full beast mode as we're hanging out together in the jungle with our favorite hairy henchman, Beastman. Arrgh. Now, Beastman is a character that goes all the way back to the original line. He's one of the most iconic figures in all of Masters of the Universe. In fact, he actually predates the original line, and he was part of the prototypes called the Lords of Power. And apparently, Mattel thought that Lords was too religious, so they went with Masters of the Universe instead. The Lords of Power Beastman was more brutish. He looked red in his coloring, and his armor was more barbaric looking. Eventually, they toned him down into his hilarious orange fur, and he made his way into that first line and into our hearts. Beastman was equipped with a whip that was also a direct mold from a Big Jim line. Just stole directly, gave right to Beastman. And it's kind of funny because it's way too big for his little hand, but it worked well in a Big Jim hand. The basic story beats for Beastman are pretty, well, basic. He was just sort of like a brutish henchman that helped Skeletor and did whatever Skeletor said. In the early 2000s, during the Mike Young era, they tried to flesh out his story a little bit in the comics, Icons of Evil. And in that story, we saw a young Keldor and Beastman get captured by a primitive tribe, and they were like holding them captive and making them fight with each other, and they were going to eat them. It was sort of a Han Solo Chewbacca situation where they were imprisoned together and then they broke out together. But in this story, there was no love. Unlike Han and Chewie, who were best friends, these two were not. It's always been very clearly established that Beastman is almost like Skeletor's slave. He does what he wants, but there's no friendship there. He does it sort of begrudgingly. He's jealous of Skeletor. He wants Skeletor's power. And in the 80s cartoon, he was sort of played for jokes. Lots of Pratt jokes. Now, Beastman is so iconic that he was one of the few members that actually made their way into the 1987 movie. Beastman, along with Evelyn, were two of the only properties that Canon Films felt was worth purchasing to have in the movie. And they weren't wrong. We needed Beastman and we needed Evelyn. But it was awful. Rubber masks, big hairy costume, laughable. It was the 80s. What are you going to do? Now, Beastman never really had like an arch nemesis per se. One would almost argue that Cringer was his arch nemesis. Now, stylistically, it would seem that Panther and Cringer would be arch enemies. But since He-Man and Cringer are always together and besties, and Skeletor is basically making Beastman be his bestie, and there's sort of a beastliness there, that it does kind of make sense that these four would be the ultimate standoff. So in the little clip, the tiny moment in the trailer where we see Beastman jumping on the police car, he looks very ferocious. So my guess is they're going to be making him more ferocious in this new movie coming up. Less Pratt jokes. But we can only hold our breath and wait and see for the movie to come out this summer. Thanks again for watching. Till next time. Subscribe.